Hello, I'm meteorologist Don Lures, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Weather Awareness. Well, hard to believe, but we're rapidly settling into wintertime now across the PD. Already turned the page to December. That, of course, has the holiday season in high gear. In that frame of mind, we're going to talk right now to Doris Smith. She's the Grief Support Coordinator with Agape Care. And Doris, thanks for coming by.
Oh, you're quite welcome. So glad I could be here to join you today.
Yes, I'm glad you are too. We work together with Agape Care, a hospice company that serves Dillon and Marion counties, and I thought it would be good to have you come in as we go into the holiday season and talk a little bit about how the holiday season impacts your work and our work in general with the hospice folks that we help, and how the holiday calendar plays into their day-to-day living under hospice care. So talk a little bit about how hospice care, first of all, helps families that are facing a serious illness.
Well, one of the things, thank you for having me.
Oh,
one of the things that we do at hospice care, we focus on not just the patient, but we focus on the family, because we know that when a terminal illness takes place, it affects more than just the patient. And we're there to give the care that the patient needs, and we're also there to give support to the family with our social workers, our chaplains, our nurses, our CNAs. We're just there for the entire family. And we know that during the holidays can be kind of tough on people.
They can be, especially if you're having other stresses in your life. The holiday in general for some folks it's a happy time, but also a stressful time. If you add more stress on top of stress, it can get overwhelming.
Yes, and one of the things that can be overwhelming is after your loved one dies. And especially when the seasons change, sometimes our emotions change along with the seasons.
Right.
And so it is during this time that we at Hospice Care, we're here to just give the family support through bereavement. One of the things that we do at Hospice Care, we have one at Agape Care, we have one of the most comprehensive grief support programs in the state of South Carolina.
That's awesome.
And what we do, when one of our patients pass, we're there to give the family support for 13 months or longer if needed. And I do that through visits, phone calls, we do quarterly newsletters, we do special mailings, just to give that family some support throughout that first year. We know that during the holidays, especially that first Thanksgiving, that first Christmas without their loved one, it is extremely hard on some of our families. And so we're there to give them even more support. In a couple of weeks rather, I will be doing a Grief in the Holidays seminar via Zoom and also conference call. So, we invite the public to participate. If you're interested, just give me a call at 843-898-1974. And one of the things I must add about our bereavement services, Agape Care, we serve not just our families, our hospice families, but we're here for the community as well.
Yes.
So if there is somebody in the community that feels overwhelmed during the holidays or any time, and they feel like they need somebody to talk with them about their grief, Agape Care is there.
Yeah, and I like the way that we try to tap in and be a resource for the church families and for the community as a whole, to be there for them. I've heard feedback, by the way, just in support of what you do, from families that have lost someone, of how meaningful it is to have the contacts that you have with them and to help them through that calendar that first year.
It is. They really appreciate it. And sometimes I never know how much I have impacted a family until I hear it from somebody else.
Right.
Or somebody in the community may call and say, Miss So-and-so said that you helped her when her brother died, and I need you to come talk to my mother. I need you to come talk to my sister. And so, and I also, we get some referrals, grief referrals through our church, through the community. We're just here for everybody. One of the things about Agape Care, one of our main slogan is, we care.
Right.
And so we care about people. We care about what's going on in your life.
Exactly. Talk a little bit about, you mentioned stress and the stress of the holidays and the stress of losing a loved one. We've also had the other stress of dealing with this virus this whole year. Talk a
Yes.
little bit about that.
One of the things this virus has forced us to do, this pandemic has forced us that we're alone more. And it's hard on people because families can't gather like they used to gather. And so it's kind of depressing. And with some people, they need somebody just to call them to just say, hello, I care about you. And with this pandemic, we know that you just want your loved ones to be around you.
It's been hard. It's been hard.
Hard. And it's hard when, you know, you want your grandchildren to come and give you that hug, but your grandchildren are out of state. And even if they do come visit you, they can't come close to you because you never know what's going to happen. So this pandemic has caused us to think about doing family dinners in a different way. Think about our gatherings. We are doing them in a different way. For instance, for Thanksgiving, we did our annual family gathering, we did it via Zoom. And so it was good to see my family, but we really just wanted to be together. But
exactly.
Hopefully 2021, or at least the beginning of 2022, we'll be back where things will never be like they were, but we will be able to gather together again.
Yeah, with the vaccines coming out, I'm hoping that helps us turn the corner
I hope
and
so.
get back toward track of, like you said, how things were.
Yes, yes. And, you know, Christmas is a time for joy, a time of joy, a time of celebrations. But with the virus, so many people may be depressed. And I just tell people, reach out. And if you know somebody is bereaved, reach out to that person. Don't wait for them to call. Sometimes you have to reach out to them to let them know that you're thinking about them.
Yeah, because sometimes they're reluctant, but they're still holding that hurt inside.
They really are.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Doris, for coming by.
Well, I enjoyed it. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too, Doris.
All right.
All right, Doris Smith, grief support coordinator with Agape Care, and we'll be right back after this. If you are in the market for a car, truck, or SUV, you have to check out Parker's Used Cars. Parker's Used Cars is on Highway 38 South in Blenheim, located between Latta and Bennettsville. Tommy Parker, the owner, has built his reputation by selling high-quality vehicles for 29 years. You won't believe the selection. You'll have over 600 cars, trucks, and SUVs to pick from. Check them out online at parkersautos.com. That's parkersautos.com. Or call them at 843-528-3301. Parker's Used Cars in Blenheim, Highway 38. And welcome back to Weather Awareness. Part of the change of seasons, of course, is the holiday season and also the giving season. And in that frame of mind, we're talking to Johnny Lewis right now, the director of the Dillon County United Way. And thank you, Johnny, for coming by.
Thank you, Don, for asking.
Yeah, the United Way is always a big player in the helping the community find ways to appropriately give. Talk a little bit about how United Way serves Dillon County.
United Way serves around 20 to 22 different organizations. All of them are nonprofit, and from American Red Cross to, you know, the Boys and Girls Clubs to, you know, different organizations within our community, Helping Hands, Free Medical Clinic, the Pregnancy Center, just different ones. Also the hearing for folks that have problems. And it's been a difficult year. Most of our organizations have not been able to have their fundraisers. United Way has not been able to have their fundraisers. The industries are usually some of our biggest contributors, but they have not been able to do their in-house fundraising and different things that I always do. They always have like a competition between the shifts and the different organizations within the industry, and they haven't been able to do it this year. So our receiving agencies, along with others who do not receive funding from United Way in Dillon County, are hurting this year, and it's very difficult. We've got to think about American Red Cross. We've got to think about fires. They're the first ones that respond to the fires. long-term recovery care group. They have been so helpful this year, but they also depend on donations. Our Helping Hands, our free medical clinic, our pregnancy center, these are groups that work on a very, very limited budget anyway, and with like limited to staff that's paid, and so they're saving the money as much as they can, but the money's not coming in.
Right, and some of those organizations, the community need for their service has actually increased,
Right.
even though that their money flow into that organization has decreased. So that's a kind of a double whammy.
It has. It's been very, very difficult. We also have to think about our rescue squads. They're nonprofit too, and to receive funding from the United Way of Dillon County, you have to go through a process. You have to be registered with the Secretary of State. You have to be a 501c3. You have to send all your paperwork in, and just a whole lot of information that we have to gather. And then we've had to cut the number down of agencies that we can support because of the funding. We have been able to send out 3/4 of three checks this season. Usually we're able to do 4, but this year, because of the funding, we haven't been able to do that. And you still have time to donate, and the money we save stays in Dillon County, and it helps our folks here. But you can donate by sending to United Way, P.O. Box 828, Dillon, South Carolina, or you can call us at 843-774-8551. If we say hello, Dillon County Chamber of Commerce, don't worry, we're housed in the same building.
That's right.
And so we'll just
You know who's on the other end when they call. That's right.
Just go ahead and put our hat on for United Way, so that's not a problem. But we want to encourage people. This is the giving season. We want to help, and we can help. You know, if you can't make a monetary donation, then think of about a bag of food for the Humane Society, or you can think of some cleaning supplies for the free medical clinic, because they have to wipe everything down after every single patient every time. And you know, they've always done that anyway, but those supplies are a little more expensive right now.
Right.
And hard to find. And they can use just what you use at home to clean. They use the Clorox, they use the wipes, they use the paper towels, anything we can have like that. So that anything would help.
Yeah, boy, I'm sure when people were hearing that list of agencies that you work with, the impact that they each have on the community is big. The Red Cross, the Free Medical Clinic, the Pregnancy Center. I mean, everyone on there, people can say, yeah, they're needed. They're needed. But they might not be top of mind until they start thinking about it.
And think about our Council on Aging too. You know, the huge population, and it's one that just simple little things can help them. And it's the Christmas season. If you want to participate in toy drives, there are many of them going around in our communities with our church, with the Dillon Herald, with United Way. We're partnering this year for the first time to help with a toy drive, and with long-term recovery care and the Dillon Herald. So we're trying to do everything that we can to ensure that we have a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. And one more time, the Dillon County United Way housed with the Dillon Chamber, so if they can get in touch with the Chamber, they can get in touch with United Way.
That's right. Thank you,
Very
Johnny.
good. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny Lewis with the Dillon County United Way. And we'll be right back after this. If you are in the market for a car, truck, or SUV, you have to check out Parker's Used Cars. Parker's Used Cars is on Highway 38 South in Blenheim, located between Latta and Bennettsville. Tommy Parker, the owner, has built his reputation by selling high-quality vehicles for 29 years. You won't believe the selection. You'll have over 600 cars, trucks, and SUVs to pick from. Check them out online at parkersautos.com. That's parkersautos.com. Or call them at 843-528-3301. Parker's Used Cars in Blenheim, Highway 38. And welcome back. Right now we're being joined by Donna Sellers, a nurse practitioner with Dillon Family Medicine. And Donna, thanks for coming by.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Just before we were talking to Shannon Carter, she was talking about maybe the flu shot being a concern for some of the hospice patients she works with, but that's actually community-wide, all across Dillon and Marion counties. Folks are going into that. People probably have a lot of different thoughts about that this year because there's been so much news with COVID-19 being part of the picture since early spring. But tell us a little bit about flu shots first, and exactly who should be getting flu shots? Are they available yet, or should we wait a while?
Sure.
What's the situation?
Okay, so flu shots are recommended for anybody 6 months or older.
Okay.
So just about everybody should consider a flu shot. They are available now, and now's the perfect time. You know, people often wonder, would I get it too early? Does it cover me through the season if I get it too late?
That's a question I've always had and heard. Like, you know, sure they're available now, but what happens if you still want to be covered in March, or how long does it last?
Well, I don't, as far as the exact, I mean, I'd have to look that up, to be honest. I don't have the top of my head, but if you get it now, you should be covered through the season.
Very good.
Late September, early October is a good target to cover you through the spring.
Okay.
Because flu sticks around for a while.
It does. It does. It really does. Any particular group that should especially get the flu shot?
Absolutely. What you want to look at are your elderly population, those with chronic conditions, diabetes, congestive heart failure, breathing issues, COPD, anyone who routinely sees your doctor for medications for a chronic illness certainly needs to consider the flu shot.
And that's a good point, because just like so many other things, if you're already dealing with issues, adding the flu on top of it is not going to be a good situation. Some people have the concern that getting the shot is going to make them sick. That's not a concern, is it?
The flu shot cannot cause you to get the flu. It would be, sometimes your body will mount, well, you always will mount an immune response to the vaccine, but sometimes it presents itself as maybe mild cold symptoms. You may, a low-grade fever, a little bit of fatigue, but that should pass. But it will not be, you did not get the flu from the flu shot.
Right, and the few times it turns out that it looks like that, it's really that they already had the flu bug before they got the vaccine.
You had already come in contact with the flu virus,
itself.
you were in the incubation period, and the symptoms had not manifested, as you said, yes.
Okay, very good. And I did want to talk a little bit about the COVID situation too. I know that for a long time, one of the headlines as far as the news coverage of COVID you kept hearing was, when's the testing going to be available? When's the testing going to be ramped up? And
we're there.
That's something you're especially involved in with Dillon Family Medicine. Talk a little bit about what that is involving.
So Dillon Family Medicine has partnered with First Baptist Church. They've allowed us to use their beautiful parking area for a drive-through clinic. We're there at 400 North 4th Avenue 6 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 7, Wednesday, noon to 4, and Saturdays from 10 to 2. It's completely drive-through. You don't get out of your vehicle. It's no cost to you. We take what your insurance will pay, or if you don't have insurance, we bill the CARES Act. So there's no out-of-pocket cost for the nasal swab. The other thing is you don't have to be symptomatic. A lot of places you have to have some sort of symptom or known exposure, when the reality is if you have been out and about in the world in the last 4 to 5 months, you've probably, come in contact with COVID in some shape, form, or fashion.
Exactly. Is there a target group you're looking for, or is it anybody that just thinks, yeah, maybe I should get one?
Well, I think anybody who thinks they should get one, that's probably your first gut, yes, I probably should. I would say certainly those, again, that are elderly, those with the same group with the flu shot, those with the chronic conditions, the elderly, those that are around those people. If you're a caregiver, going back to the previous statement with Shannon, hospice caregivers should certainly consider get tested, because you don't want to be that asymptomatic person, because they're genuinely out there that has the virus, and you're spreading it, unbeknownst to anyone else.
Exactly. That's a great point. Are there appointments necessary?
Appointments are not necessary. It's like I said, it's completely drive-through. You show up, we'll do telehealth on site, take care of you, get you swabbed, and on your way.
Okay. And when people do get a test, how soon will they hear the results?
Within 2 to 5 days. Our turnaround is getting a little bit shorter, but we still want to say 2 to 5 in case there's some sort of snag. If you get a positive result, you get a call from me to talk about what you need to do as far as continuing quarantine, symptom management, those sorts of things. If you're negative and you provide us an email address, you'll get an email on how to access it through patient portal.
Okay. And is there, I imagine some people are the type that would want to be tested on some sort of schedule. Are you allowed to come back more than once?
If you have reason to come sooner, you could in theory be tested every week. With no sort of reasons, no symptoms, no exposure, a monthly basis is a reasonable thing, a time frame to think about, in that there could be that exposure in there. It is a 2-week incubation period in general, so I would not recommend unless you had a known reason to come any sooner than every 2 weeks.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, I think that's great that it's available for the community. Do you have to be a resident of Dillon, or how's that?
We are serving any and everybody. If you're driving down I-95, get off, grab you a cup of coffee from the local fast food chain there, see us, come on through.
Okay.
You do not have to be a resident of South Carolina or particularly Dillon. We actually are reaching out even more if you're a church or an industry or a business that has 15 or more folks that, you know, are committed to being tested. We'll even come to you.
That's awesome. That's really, really great. And it's good that you're kind of checking off. Some people, such as myself, would kind of have, well, I probably shouldn't go because this or this or this. And you can kind of make excuses. But
Right,
it sounds
absolutely.
like you've kind of taken care of that there's really no excuse not to.
There's no excuse not to be tested. Like I said, there are definitely folks out there that are asymptomatic. Like I said, I personally call and I ask the folks, you know, were you having symptoms? And more often than not here lately, they're saying, no, I just went because, and maybe they have an elderly grandparent. Leading up to the holidays, we're coming. You want to be sure if you're going to visit the grandparents, the parents that are older, that you're COVID-free.
Very good. Well, thanks again for coming by.
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Donna Sellers, nurse practitioner with Dillon Family Medicine, filling us in on flu shots and the COVID-19 preparations for testing being done right here in Dillon, Marion counties. We hope you have a great rest of the month and celebrate the early arrival of the holiday season as we go through the next couple of months. We'll see you next time.